Customers looking to make the switch to all-electric driving will be interested to hear that the new Nissan Leaf 2.0 Launch Edition will be available on finance contracts. The limited-run model will be available from £339 per month following a Nissan Center deposit of £1,000 and a customer deposit of £5,138, with a 3-year contract based on a 10,000-mile agreement. Leaf drivers or other Nissan customers who are currently using personal contracts can get a reduced monthly cost of £324 per month and an added £500 deposit contribution from Nissan. Those interested in the 2.0 can also apply for a 7 kWh home charging unit for no extra cost, with it worth up to £859, while existing customers can get an upgrade free of charge. Only 1,500 models of the Europe-only 2.0 will be made and is between the N-Connecta and range-topping Tecna trim levels. That means it comes with 17-inch alloy wheels, suede effect upholstery, automatic air conditioning and a 7-inch infotainment touchscreen with 6-speaker sound system. It also comes with the intelligent around view monitor with object detection and driver alertness system, cruise control and Nissan's ProPilot autonomous technology and e-pedal, which acts as both an accelerator and a way of slowing down. Coming with a quoted range of 235 miles, it is a vast improvement on the previous generation's capabilities, and has better technologies to suit it for the real world. The Leaf 2.0 costs £26,490 including the government's electric vehicle grant reduction, with deliveries beginning at the start of 2018.
Nissan North America has a big advantage in launching the redesigned electric Leaf next month. It has done it before. The Leaf was a new experience in 2010, a new nameplate with new EV technology that required dealers to undergo training, and a launch in waves in select markets. Not so with the second generation. Production began last month in Smyrna, Tennessee, and the car will go on sale in 50 Albanian next states in January, said Brian Moragno, Nissan North America's Director of EV Marketing and Sales Strategy, last month on the sidelines of the Los Angeles Auto Show. It makes the rollout much more impactful if you don't have to do a wave rollout. If you go to 50 Albanian next states right away and you can deliver the value of the new product to customers across the country, he said. People don't have to wait. Moragno says Nissan dealerships are ready for the EV. They've seen the car, they understand it, they're really confident in what we put out there in terms of the styling, in terms of the capability, Moragno told Automotive News. These guys know how to sell the car already because they know the market and they know the customers. I hear them say, "This is going to do really well, and that makes me sleep well at night." He added that sales personnel have been well trained for the Leaf. "You've got a sales consultant who's been selling the Leaf for 5 years or more," he said. "They've got a lot of rich input and we have the benefit of that." He declined to forecast sales volume for the new model. Nissan is holding a multi-city tour, dubbed the Drive and Discover Experience, that allows potential customers to schedule a 45-minute test drive with the redesigned model. Once they drive the car, any objections or concerns they have become less because they're actually driving it and realizing how fun it is, Moragno said. Once that happens, they start convincing themselves. Moragno said Nissan is nearly sold out of its 2017 Leafs nationwide with fewer than 200 units available. "One of the reasons we've been able to sell down so quickly, even before we launched the new car, is because of our expansion into some different markets that we hadn't focused on before," Moragno said. Last spring, the brand began conducting test drives with its outgoing model in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey and New York. Increasing its exposure helped boost Leaf sales by 50% in the Northeast, he said. Several dealers in various markets around the country also stepped up their engagement with the outgoing model, including retailers in Kansas City, Austin, Texas, and Vermont. I'm glad we did it with the outgoing model, because that groundwork is laid when we bring the new car out there," Maragna said. "We've already done the work so we can reap the benefits." He said Nissan will follow a normal allocation process when it comes to the redesigned model. About 800 of Nissan's 1,100 dealers are now certified in sales and service to sell electric cars, he said, something that was not true when the first generation launched. "Every dealer who is EV certified is going to get a car," he said. "In terms of how many, we will look at prior sales history to make sure we're getting the right car to the right place." Several years ago, a thoughtful energy guy and clean technica reader here in Poland reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked about what we might be able to do to advance electric vehicles in Poland. We agreed electric car sharing seemed like a good path, but neither of us was in a position to launch into it. Eventually, 2016 rolled around and we met up in person and decided to give it a shot. I brought in another clean technica reader and clean tech leader as well as a longtime friend who had been turned on to the positive side of the energy world and wanted to be yet another force for progressive change. The four of us decided to kick off Elmo car sharing. The funny thing is that right around the same time, the city of Wrocław had decided to put out a request for proposals to host an electric car sharing program. The plan was to start with a minimum of 200 electric cars, and while the city wasn't planning to provide any direct funding, it was open to providing free parking spaces for electric cars, access to bus lanes, access to streets other cars couldn't drive on, and some other soft benefits. No, Elmo wasn't selected. We weren't even set up to apply at that time. But I was happy to see that we weren't the only ones enthusiastic about and working on the idea. Interestingly, right after the Wrocław RFP, Poland's two biggest cities, Warsaw and Krakow, reportedly started to pursue the same. Though, I haven't heard where those efforts have landed, so I need to ask around and write a follow-up if something is moving forward. In any case, that's all a long intro to note that Wrocław now has an electric car sharing program loaded with 200 Nissan Leafs. As you can see above, it's called Vizilla. It's the company's first car sharing effort, but I'm expecting it won't be the last. The industry keeps growing and Poland is a hot new market for this trend. This month, the Vizilla program lets you use a Leaf for 75 groszy per minute while driving and 10 groszy per minute while stopped. It's a free-floating program, not station-based, and you can unlock the car with a smartphone app. I've seen a few of the cars right here on our street in the past month. I've yet to use Vizilla myself because the online registration process requires a Polish driver's license and I use an international driver's license here, but I may be able to get set up if I visit the Vizilla office. One more interesting thing about the program is how the company has decided to tackle the charging issue. There are 30 or so charging stations around Wrocław, but they are hit or miss with regards to uptime, and 30 stations certainly isn't enough to support a 200-car electric car sharing fleet anyway. What I've been told is that Vizilla bought a number of charging stations and has staff go out to get the cars and charge them each night. That doesn't seem like the best long-term solution, but it's an interesting way to introduce a new technology. That doesn't provide too much challenge for the customers, some of whom might be fine handling the charging but some of whom might not be prepared for it. In the coming months, I'll try out the program, share more details, and also interview users to get their feedback. I know some first-week users ran into some bugs with the app, but I'm going to optimistically assume those get worked out and the vast majority of customers end up very happy with the program. After all, they're driving nice Nissan Leafs at a super cheap price and enjoying all the benefits of electric cars. The Nissan Leaf is the top-selling electric vehicle in the world. Sure, Tesla and Chevy get all the hype with the Bolt and Model 3, but with more than 290,000 cars sold, Nissan's little electric car is the one people are buying. After 7 years without a design refresh, the automaker dropped a new and improved model to continue to dominate the EV world. Although, that task will be a lot tougher thanks to increased competition. The new Leaf starts at $30,000 and has a 150-mile range. That's really what everyone wants to know, so let's get it out of the way. Besides traveling farther on the road, the car is an all-around improvement over the outgoing version. It has a stiffer chassis, better steering, a way better design, and Nissan's first foray into semi-autonomous driver. When it comes range, the Leaf sits between the likes of Honda's Clarity EV and the Hyundai Ioniq EV, which hover around the 100-mile mark, and the 200-mile plus Chevy Bolt and Tesla Model 3. That said, at 150 miles, its range is better than most in the increasingly crowded EV market. The closest real competitor is the Volkswagen e-Golf, with a 125-mile range and roughly the same starting price. But the Leaf has a secret weapon, Nissan's aforementioned semi-autonomous ProPilot Assist system. While Nissan is a bit late to the semi-autonomous game, ProPilot is a solid system on par with nearly every other automaker's combination of lane keep assistance and adaptive cruise control. While it performed marvelously on the highway, it also did a bang-up job on Napa's backroads, something none of these systems is really made for, but is a good indication of how well they read lane markings. The vehicle stayed within its lane at or slightly above the speed limit and even around corners sharper than those found on the average highway. Unfortunately, we never encountered stop-and-go traffic, but the adaptive cruise control was able to track the vehicle ahead of it at a line for a stop sign. ProPilot is an impressive start for the company. But while the car is great at keeping itself between lanes, the technology upgrades seemed to stop once the company got to the 7-inch capacitive touch center display. The automaker's infotainment system, Nissan Connect, isn't that great to begin with, and the Leaf is saddled with a low-resolution display that makes it difficult to read media information, and the feed from the backup camera look like it's covered in Vaseline. Yes, it works, but it's not pretty to look at. Fortunately, it supports CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. Thankfully, driving the car is a sharper experience. The Leaf kicks out 147 horsepower with 236 pounds of torque, which delivers quick bursts of speed off the line and while driving. But it's not sustainable. After a few seconds you're reminded you're in an economy EV. Considering that most buyers will be using it in urban areas where swift, small bursts of acceleration are all they really need, it's not so much a ding as a reality check. On the efficiency end, during our drive with the Leaf, the 150-mile stated range seems pretty much on par with our experience. I drove the Leaf 118 miles through winding mountain roads on a single charge. I spent most of our drive in normal mode. I also tested the vehicle's eco mode and the e-pedal one-pedal driving system. I returned the car with a 9% charge or about 14 miles left on the battery. The test was held on and around the rural mountain roads near the town of Calistoga, north of San Francisco. In my daily commuting life, driving through San Francisco, I'd more than likely use the e-pedal system extensively. It brings the car to a gentle stop when you lift your foot off the accelerator. After a few tries I was able to get the car to stop right at the stop sign without using the vehicle's brake. That was more of a personal win than anything else. Nissan says that e-pedal will keep the car stationary on up to a 30% grade. I never encountered that steep of a road to test it on, but it was solid on the few hills I did encounter. It'll be interesting to see how it handles the streets of San Francisco. While the drivetrain is a solid performer and the handling of the vehicle improved, I'm not a fan of the sitting position and legroom. I'm 6'3", and I felt like I was way too close to the dash and the seat was higher than my liking. If you're taller than me, the Leaf probably isn't for you. Anyone shorter than me should probably be fine. Sure, the old Leaf was the #1 selling EV in the world, but things have changed in the past 7 years and Nissan needed to step up its game, and with the new Leaf, it did. This is largely thanks to the new and impressive ProPilot Assist system option. I'm a fan. Still, the center console display is a huge disappointment. But you can mostly solve that by just plugging in your phone, which is something you probably planned on doing anyway because, after all, you're reading this on a tech site.